Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Smith. Paraskelia is my channel, and today we're going to be doing our second reading workshop. We're going to be looking at the lyrics to the song Moди, ვნახოთ, vnakhot. These lyrics are known by children. It's part of a game, and although they're a little bit confusing, like many children's songs can be, we're going to learn them with the objective of practicing the ergative tense, which follows in the sequence of the videos that I regularly do on a Friday. So, if you're ready, let's go. Before we get into it, of course, I'd like to speak to you because you guys are the ones subscribing to my channel and just giving me the motivation to keep it going. I now have 404 subscribers. I remember when I got 40 and I couldn't believe my eyes. Now it's much more and the channel's growing and I'm really learning how to do this better. I check my subscriptions every day. I read all the messages you send me. And one from Dead Set, which is you, was this week saying I would totally pay you on Patreon and help promoting. And I thought Patreon is a way for people to take part in the channel, to contribute to a bit of my process, and to, I suppose, help me, support me, and give me some further recognition that I'm on the right track and you're enjoying my content. And not only did I read it, but I took Dead Set's words literally. I opened a Patreon, and this is my Patreon. That's the symbol that you should be looking for. And there you have it. Paraskelia is the name. The concept is, of course, that you make a donation and then you help support the channel that way financially. And you just give me one more thing to look at to make me feel so proud that we're going places. My intention was never really to generate that much income. It's my passion for the Georgian language and teaching that really got me this far. I don't ask you to like my videos or subscribe to them, but you do anyway, and I really appreciate it. So this is just another way for you to show your appreciation, I suppose, and just to get involved with maybe the planning that's coming up in 2023. I don't expect this channel to get any smaller. It is going to grow, and with your help, maybe it could grow a little bit further. And this comment, which I got from Dead Set, just made my day, warmed my heart so much. Proud to be your first, I have to look at my phone because that's how I read it. Proud to be your first patron, and you are. So Dead Set, thank you so much for your comments, and I took it literally. And to the rest of you, of course, before we go into the rest of today's tutorial, thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. I don't need a single cent to continue going, so just keep it up, work hard, and there's so much more to come. So let's get to the next slide. Slide 1 is just some research of mine to show us how old this song really is so that we know that it's hard-coded into Georgian childhood. Here we've got a date, 1895. This is an older version of the song we're going to learn. This one contains different protagonists. The title is the same, Moди, ვნახოთ, vnakhot. Let's take a look at the vineyard. And the here word, we have simchera, just means that it's a song. And a word that I've always really liked, batarები, are kids, little ones, coming from batara, which just means small. So batarებისთვის, what we have here, is for the little ones. And it just, bring us to perhaps where does this have a parallel in English? Because I thought we would look at the wheels on the bus, right? The wheels on the bus go round and round. The horn on the bus, the wipers on the bus, the kid on the bus goes wah, wah, wah. This teaches young native English speakers the third person, the present simple, the present continuous, where our grammatical changes become significant and where kids often make mistakes. So each third person has a role in the wheels on the bus. But buses 200 years ago didn't exist. We used to say, here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning, and there were other parts of that rhyme to achieve the same goal. But that doesn't add up either, because mulberries don't grow on bushes. Mulberries grow on trees. So there isn't a mulberry bush anyway, but that's what was used to make the song work. Now, of course, people have discussed that because the mulberry was the preferred food of the silkworm, that the bush, the reduced, non-thriving tree, might be a reference on a cold and frosty morning to the frustration of the people growing the mulberry, and of course the monopoly that China had on the silk market, which was a very lucrative way to make money, and it caused a lot of frustration hundreds of years ago in Europe. And so I think that this song is very similar in that way. It talks about the frustration of having a vineyard and that for some reason, whatever reason, it's not thriving. And so it does still go into hard-coded into what was the mindset. And so it allows it to modernize and go into different places, just like the wheels on the bus. From my perspective, I don't think the vnakhī, the vineyard, was entirely eaten by the goat. That doesn't add up. But then the mulberry bush doesn't exist either. So again, as the song shows us sometimes, it doesn't have to make perfect sense. And when we learn a language, we really want things to be consistent. But just in this case, when we're learning songs, especially for kids, we just got to focus on what is the main goal here. And that we're going to practice the past tense. Whether or not it makes sense to you, of course, the gun shot the wolf. The gun didn't eat the wolf. We're going to sing the gun ate the wolf. And that the wolf ate the goat that ate the vineyard, which probably means that the goat didn't eat the vineyard at all. It just ate the grapes and the vines. Because, of course, a human being wouldn't eat the vines. A human being would eat the grapes, and so on. So there is a little bit of storytelling there to understand what we're going to sing, but I'll take it step by step with you and discuss it as we go slide by slide. Slide 3, and now we have to learn the song, and the idea, of course, is that we're going to use one of the nominative characters of the song and add either am or ma to show that it ate something. It was the eater. So the cat, kata, ate the mouse. Katam, chama, tagwi. Katam, chama, tagwi. Tagwi in the past doesn't take but ma. Because, of course, in the nominative with the I, they all need ma for the ergative. So when the mouse eats the earth, it's tagma, chama, mitsa. Mitsa doesn't change because it was eaten. Tagma was the eater in the ergative. Mitsa, mitsam. Chama, jangi. Jangma, chama, topi. The rest ate the gun. Topma, chama, mgeli. The gun ate the wolf. Shot. Killed. Mgelma, chama, tkha. Tkham, chama, vnakhī. Pay attention to the last one because in the song actually it's tkham, chama, vnakhī. Because again, it's another illustrative point that there's not much of a difference between chama and chama. The only thing we could say is that outside of the song, chama means that he or she ate it up. Finished in its entirety, it often means sort of gobble up, to eat it up. And then chama can be the act of eating. You could say, for example, I enjoyed that pizza, I ate half. This pizza I loved more, I ate it all up. So here we see that in English we've got ate and ate up, and they do comment on different things. Obviously, one, the pizza wasn't finished, and the other one was finished with delight. So it's that element there of eaten up with delight too. And so, what ate the vnakhī? Ram chama vnakhī. And we'll explain in slide 2 as to why we're using ram and not ra in the next slide. In addition, of course, just remember that vnakhī, the vineyard, is composed of khurdzeni and vazi. Khurdzeni are grapes and vazi are the vines. Now, this little graphic has come from a video on YouTube. It is, well, I remember it from a few years ago, and it sings the song with you. Pay attention to tkham chama vnakhī. Tkham chama vnakhī. It comes up quite a lot in the song and it binds the song together because in the end, what we're supposed to be able to do is say this without chama, but then also remember to use chama for vnakhī. So, Katam tagwi, tagma mitsa, mitsam jangi, jangma topi, topma mgeli, mgelma tkha, tkam chama vnakhī. In that order, step by step, until we get to the end. If you look at the link, which is in the description at the end of this video, you'll see what I mean. And next slide, we are going to be looking at a little bit more grammar just to be able to access some of the vocabulary in the song we're going to learn. So this is the hard part, that's the fun part. Firstly, let's just be logical here. If I had a plate of grapes, the grapes are gone, the stalks are there, it's clearly done by a human, no dog would do that, and a goat would eat the stalks anyway. Vin she'ch'ama chodzeni. Vin she'ch'ama chodzeni. Who ate the grapes up? I know it was a person, but I wouldn't say that about the vines or the stalks. I would have to say ram she'ch'ama vazi. Who ate the grapevines? It would now sound illogical for a human. It would be illogical in English too with who. So what ate? Something living clearly ate the grapevines in this case. So I'm going to use ram. Here, just for extra clarity, vin, who, ra, what, ram, ergative, what thing ate the thing that I'm looking at. What ate it up? Bringing us to the question, which is a lyric in the song, Ram she'ch'ama vnakhot. Ram she'ch'ama vnakhot. And we learn, Tkha she'ch'ama Venakhi. The goat ate the vineyard. Again, this combination of chodzeni and vazi, just making the song a little bit neater, okay? Just another piece of information. This is from Vaja Pushavela, a poet. This is very high-level Georgian. You need to know a lot more. For this course, we've not even touched this level of Georgian, but ram here means ratom. It doesn't mean what thing. In fact, this is why, ratom. It's more of a question of an existential crisis that he's having. Again, I'm covering the what. Why was I made human? Why was I put into this position? It's more of a sort of existential questioning. Ram has been shortened. Ratom is used actually in the second line. It's adding that why was I like this? It reminds me of Romeo and Juliet. Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo, is basically, why are you a Montague? In the story, she can marry anyone that's not a Montague. So that's another existential question coming from Shakespeare. And of course, this is not the level that we're doing in our course, but just pay attention. It's not what. That's why I covered it up. Okay, let's get down to the fun part. Tkha. What's Tkha doing? He's eating the grapes and the vines. He's destroying the Venakhi. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's go and check the Venakhi out. Mo'di ვნახოთ vnakhot. Ram she'ch'ama vnakhot. That's my question. What ate the vines up? The grapevines up? Mi vnakhot vnakhot. Tkha she'ch'ama vnakhot. I went and looked at the vineyard and the goat ate the vineyard up. That's the song. Mo'di ვნახოთ vnakhot. Ram she'ch'ama vnakhot. Mi vnakhot vnakhot. Tkha she'ch'ama vnakhot. All of the content for each of the pieces will follow this formula, whether it's the gun, the wolf, the earth, the rust, the mouse. That's going to be repeated all the time. That's why I said it's a bit like a game, step by step. And of course, take a look. Even in this image, which is over 125 years old, the goat isn't eating a vineyard. It is literally eating one Venakhi. Right? So now we can start singing the song, knowing that the wolf ate the goat and the goat ate the vineyard, right? So, Mo'di ვნახოთ vnakhot. Ram she'ch'ama vnakhot. Mi vnakhot vnakhot. Tkha she'ch'ama vnakhot. Mo'di ვნახოთ tkha. Ram she'ch'ama tkha. Mi vnakhot tkha. Mgelma ch'ama tkha. Mgelma tkha. Tkha vnakhot she'ch'ama. That's the song. And then it goes then to Mo'di ვნახოთ mgeli, and we go back to the original cycle. So, of course, ვნახოთ, we do this together, but Vnakhot, I personally found out the answer. Nivel, just with the asterisk, is not used in modern Georgian. Moди probably makes a bit more sense here. I went, I looked at the vineyard. Okay? Looking at here in the second, let's say second turn, because it is actually in one of the videos. I have a nice video where there's a group of kids and they're going one by one, following that diagram one by one, and that's the fun part until you can remember the entire sequence. Here we've got Migelma Chama Tkha. Here we're going to use chama because then, of course, we're just adding a bit more kinetic energy into the song. We're not going to use she chama all the time. We can also use chama. Again, one of the objectives of the song is to show that difference and to use them in the same way. The goat was eaten by the wolf. Here, of course, Miguel Matcha Tkha Venakhi she chama. And so here, literally, the wolf ate the goat. Goat ate vineyard. That's what you're going to get from a Google search. What you really are reading is the grapevines were eaten by the goat that was eaten by the wolf. That was killed by the gun. That was oxidized by the rust. That was assimilated by the soil. That was disturbed by the mouse. That was eaten by the cat. And then we get to the opening sequence, which we started off in the very beginning, where we know all of the pieces and then the song is done. That's the end of today's presentation. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. The links are below for you to follow so you can sing along now that you know what you're saying. And of course, my Patreon. Please subscribe to that if you want to support my channel and if you've been enjoying it so far. Like my videos if you like them. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I don't often say these kind of things, but maybe today is a good opportunity. So I'll see you on Friday, Paraskevia, for our regular course. Bye.